Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups, relationships, and limited beliefs. Topic for today: why you don't trust your girlfriend. We're going to get a little specific today. It's a really good topic because this is something that when you're in the relationship, you don't see how it affects the breakup later on or your relationship overall, because a lot of times people don't know how they act because there's not a video camera on them all the time. And so they think, no, I'm right. I'm validated. They're running some kind of program where they just don't trust their girlfriend, their wife, their significant other. And it happens a lot with men specifically. And we're going to break down this topic because sometimes there is a reason that you don't trust them that's valid. They're doing something shady, and that needs to be addressed. Boundaries need to be put up, that's for sure. So we're going to get into that today. If you want to send your story into writemac.com, the link will be down below. If you want to book a live coaching session with myself to fully unpack your breakup, same link, writemac.com. Let's get into it, folks. We got 4 on deck. I'm a little late today. My apologies. It happens, but better late than never. So let's get into it. Quote of the day right now. The reasons for a lack of trust vary. The first step is identifying, is it more about you and the way you filter things, or is your girlfriend, partner, wife actually doing shady things? In the case of it being you, are you making something out of nothing? Are you playing detective with a complete lack of evidence? Are you digging and digging and digging? Are you not giving her the benefit of the doubt? In this case, in the case that she's actually texting other guys or meeting up with ex-boyfriends for lunch, you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to accept as acceptable behavior? And then make that directly known to your girlfriend. Tell her directly what is not okay. And then if she crosses that boundary, you can forgive her once. But if it becomes a habit or a sorry, just becomes a way of keeping her to do the things that she keeps doing. Sometimes people just use sorry as a, just leave me alone, I'm going to do the same thing again. Then you must make a stand or walk away. People generally don't change without consequences. A flirtatious girlfriend can be accepted by some and let go by others. It's just a choice. If that's not how you want to move with your girlfriend, that's not something you want to accept, then it's up to you. There's no moral code that says you can't accept a girlfriend that's flirtatious, outgoing, was once promiscuous. It's up to you. You're probably not going to change her by telling her she can't do this or can't do that, right? So I'm going to unpack this a little deeper. Number 1, identify the specific reasons you don't trust them. This is really key. So instead of just not trusting them overall and always being suspicious and paranoid, give concrete, specific examples. For example, you don't trust them when they hang out with a particular friend. This one comes up a lot. I can understand where people are coming from because you see that friend as being a bad influence on your girlfriend. It happens. Usually that friend's single. Usually that friend likes to hang out at places to meet other guys. Maybe that friend is highly promiscuous. Maybe that friend and your girlfriend used to go out quite a bit. The list goes on. So if that's the case, then be specific. I don't like you hanging out with that friend, especially when you go out drinking. If they say, well, I'm going to go out with that friend anyway, that's my friend for 10 years. Okay. Well, then could you meet somewhere halfway where you go, hey, look, if you're going to hang out with that friend, I want to be able to pick you up, whatever. But be specific about the things that really upset you. Now, that doesn't mean your girlfriend's going to say, oh, okay, I'll stop hanging out with that friend. But at least you know exactly what you're not willing to negotiate on. Usually when it's a friend, sometimes if push comes to shove, they'll choose their friend, right? But this is a much better thing than I just don't trust you. Everything and anything, especially generalizations. Okay. You don't trust them with a coworker. Let's say you went to their job and you can tell the manager likes them. This comes up a lot. I've had this happen to me in relationships before. If you're dating or with a woman that's attractive, this is going to happen, right? And you're a man and you know the guy's checking her out all the time, flirting, little innuendos here and there. If you say, look, I don't like the way he looks at you, how is she going to control that? Quit her job? You're going to have to trust her. But what you need to do as an individual is be honest with yourself. What are you really untrusting of? The guy or her? If you don't trust them with any people, right? Not specific ones. Let's just say, I just don't trust them to be influenced by other people. That's a generalization. That's overall. That means that there's never going to be an answer. That means that they're always going to be untrusted by you. If that's the case, be honest about it. But get to the bottom of the specific reasons you don't trust them. Then have a talk about it. And in some cases, they're not going to stop doing those things. Number 2, how do you filter things with your girlfriend? This is really big. People don't know how they filter. We filter things all the time. Some people are negative people. Some people are positive. They filter for negative things. Some people filter for positive. That's a big generalization. Specifically, some people filter for things with money. It's not by chance that my friends that have a lot of money or do well with money talk about money more often, or see a business opportunity where I'm like, where did that come from? Or look at my coaching situation and go, wow, you could do this, this, and this. Because they're filtering for entrepreneur ideals, entrepreneur benefits, all these things. That's who they are. Okay. So they filter for those things, and you might be just having a casual conversation. They turn it into a big business thing. It's not a problem. That's what they filter for. That's what their attention's based on. That's why they have a lot of money. Okay. That's why they do well in business. They see an opportunity somewhere. Now, you can do the same thing with your girlfriend where you just filter for, yeah, I know you're cheating on me. It's totally different than them actually doing something that is cheating. You're filtering for that. You're trying to get out in front of it. Okay? So be aware. What am I filtering for? Do I go out of my way to find things wrong with my girlfriend more times than not? Or do I notice all the positives more times than not? Be honest with yourself. Do you filter for certain things or assume the worst? That's a big one. Your girlfriend goes out with her best friend. Her best friend likes to drink. Your girlfriend doesn't drink that often, but with this particular best friend, she tends to drink more often. They're going to a party for another single girl, and you just go, well, I know that you're probably going to cheat on me tonight. That would just be assuming the worst, right? You're filtering for that. And then look what you're wearing. And then the next thing goes, oh, it just elevates, right? Do you think you know something you don't really know? This is a big one. So you jump to conclusions. I know you like that manager at your work. I know that. Really? You know exactly how she thinks? Now, the problem with that is, what are you looking for? Now, on the flip side, let's break down a situation like that, because that's a very common one, right? Your girlfriend's attractive, your wife's attractive, she's working in a place with other men. There's going to be other men attracted to her. Surprise, surprise. How are you going to deal with that? So if you say, I know this guy's attracted to you, I don't want you to dress this way, I don't want you to talk to him, it's probably not possible in a workplace to do that. What's another way to look at it? If you're a really confident guy and you trust your girlfriend, it could be laughable, right? But if you notice that guy's asking her out to lunch 3 or 4 days a week, then you can say, hey, look, I don't like you going to lunch with him. That's it. That's being direct about a situation that's a boundary for you. But when you take it to, I know he likes you, moves on you, I know you like the attention from him, you don't know shit. You're assuming all the worst. And you're actually imposing negativity onto the situation. If you were able to handle it and go, I know that guy likes you, right? But she's coming home to you, and you should know as a man in the relationship when someone's really into you and really loves you and you trust them. So instead of trying to get out in front of worst case scenarios, be confident in your trust until it's broke. And then when a boundary comes up where you go like, yeah, I don't mind that you guys work together and sometimes, you know, he calls you a cutie or something like that, but I don't want you going to lunch with him 3 or 4 times a week alone. See how there's flexibility there versus accusations. There's lines built in rather than you can't do anything. Okay. Now, what's the limit of shady moves you'll allow? For example, she gets lunch with a male worker that she laughed off that she believes he's hot. So let's break down the scenario real quick. You know that some guy at work likes her and she's laughed it off before and then casually said, well, he's hot. And that bothered you. That triggered you, right? And she's gone to lunch with him. So at what point do you say, instead of being passive aggressive, like, well, I know you enjoyed that lunch. Look, I don't like you going to lunch with him. I know he likes you. It's all right that you think he's hot. Because you know what? If you have a problem with someone being attracted to other people when you're together, newsflash, everyone's going to read the menu, but they don't have to order. Okay. People are going to be observant of other people that are attractive, whether they make a move or they don't make a move. So the fact that she thinks someone's hot or good looking doesn't mean it takes your place. But having lunch with some guy regularly that she's attracted to, no bueno. So you need to decide what's the limit for you. Now, someone else will go, I don't care if she goes to lunch with him because I know how good a catch I am. Like if your confidence and your trust and your confidence in yourself is so high, then you might be okay with that. I've been at places with girlfriends like that before where that's cool. Won't even bother me. Water on a duck's back. 4, be direct on what you'll put up with and not put up with. What's your boundaries? Now, here's a really good statement for you. You can forgive one time, not repeatedly for the same issue. So if something keeps happening, for example, she goes out with her friends, doesn't call you, doesn't come home till the next day, right? And you're like, I was worried about you, this, that, and the other. And they say, they have this big story where their tire was flat and they had to help a friend out and all this other stuff. Okay, so you say, all right, I believe you, give you the benefit of the doubt, right? But if that kind of story happens again and again, and you become victim somehow, well, she does this, you got to check yourself for a minute and go, wait, this is how this person's going to be. And they're willing to tell me a story or just say sorry to make it go away, but they're not really going to change. Words don't really change people. Okay. But if you stand up and you say, hey, look, this is a serious thing. This can't continue. I'm just letting you know up front, I'm not going to put up with it. You had a flat tire. You didn't come home last night. Looks like you had a few too many. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, hon, this time. But if this becomes a habit or a regular thing, I'm just going to tell you it's going to be a problem for us. See how that approach would be much different than, oh, you didn't call me. It's like carry on. Observe what happened. Tell them your feelings, and then tell them a request. Like, look, in the future, even if you got a flat tire, you ask someone to borrow their phone to let me know you're okay and let me know what's going on. Number 5, be honest. Are you being unreasonable? Are you jumping to conclusions with no evidence? Where does this come from? This is a really good part for you as the individual to stop putting everything on your girlfriend and really ask yourself, when I'm making these accusations or I'm getting jealous or I don't trust them specifically, do I have evidence? Am I going overboard? And if that's the case, and they keep telling you that, and you find them to be a credible person that's smart, intelligent, honest, and you're honest with yourself, and you're like, actually, I am jumping to conclusions with no evidence. Ask yourself this question. Maybe journal this one out. Where does this come from for me? Your past girlfriend cheated on you. Your mom left your dad for another guy. I mean, these are possibilities of why you don't trust your girlfriend. It's not necessarily that your girlfriend can't be trusted. It's just from your past experiences, you keep trying to get out ahead of this, or you're just insecure. There's a lot of guys out there that, especially if they think their girlfriend is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, they think everyone else is trying to get a piece, and she has no clue. Right? And that right there is just you thinking, I could lose her. I'm not good enough. Be honest with yourself and why you don't trust them, because something within you doesn't allow that. Now, like I said, if there's evident things like shady texts, her meeting up with an ex for lunch or something like that, those are directly shady things. You jumping to conclusions and making accusations, different thing. That's on you. Now, ask yourself this next question. Would you like to be accused of something you didn't do? It's got to be one of the worst things. It's got to be one of the worst things. Someone you care about accuses you of something you didn't do, and no matter what you say, they don't believe you. Or they accuse you of feelings that aren't true. You know, for example, I know you like that coworker. I don't like him. She might say, oh, I think he's cute. And then you're like, oh, I knew it. But I don't like him. Right? Why do you want to believe that side rather than believe her? Is your question. Think about that. Then ask yourself, would you like to be accused of something you didn't do? That's why I say there's got to be evidence. You got to give someone the benefit of the doubt in a relationship until they do something wrong. The worst thing to do is to accuse someone of something they didn't do or didn't do wrong. Eventually they'll leave, resent you, or do it to spite you. And like I wrote that a little bit choppy, so let me readdress that. The worst thing to do is accuse someone of something they didn't do. And if it was a wrongdoing or a negative thing, it's even worse. Now, in a relationship, if you keep accusing someone of doing something they didn't do or feeling something they didn't feel, these are the results you'll get. Eventually, they'll leave, would be number one. And then you can just go, oh, I knew it all along because I know how you feel. Eventually, they're going to resent you, which is a very bad layer of a relationship that leads to a breakup. Or they might just do what you keep accusing them of to spite you. If I'm going to be accused of it, might as well do it. Now, two wrongs don't make a right in my book. And I think that's a shady thing to go on, but it's a possibility. Now, I'm going to close this with a really important quote to consider. Trust is attractive. It shows confidence in your judgment. If I trust you and you're doing some shady stuff, if you have a good girlfriend with a good head on her shoulders, she's going to redirect the ship on her own and feel more guilt on her own because you trust her. If you feel like you have to keep her in line by asking her questions, by making accusations, you don't have any trust in her, then she's not going to be attracted to that. Okay? Trust is attractive. Cultivate it. All right. I got 1 in the comments, 7 on deck, 3 likes. If you don't trust someone, you stay with them. That's on you. If you don't trust someone, you need to end the relationship immediately. Thanks, Chris Puckett. And everyone trusts different layers of the relationship. But I think that's one good one to come back to as men. Trust is actually attractive. And if someone does something wrong to cross those boundaries and you trust them, they're more likely to genuinely be apologetic, right? But if you don't have hard evidence, and that's the hardest part, when someone finds texts that say everything in the text, it's hard evidence. You can't walk away from that. There's no explaining. It's like, look, I seen the nude pics you sent your friend, right? It's done. Assumptions, accusations, playing detective, looking for the worst case scenario, that's on you a lot of times. You can't trust them. Trust is the backbone of relationships, folks. All right, I got one story on deck. It's a short story today. If you want to ask me any questions in the live stream or you have any topics for next week, please put them in and I'll get to the live stream in about 5-10 minutes after I get done with this story. All right. Hey, coach, my ex broke up 8 days ago. I guess my ex broke up with me is what you want to say. She told me that she's tired of explaining herself and that I'm just too controlling. Okay. Who likes to be controlled as an adult in a relationship? We were together for a year now, and I feel like I knew this was going to happen because she never really loved me. Okay, so that's a big statement right there. So you were Nostradamus in the relationship. Here's the thing. When you believe something's going to happen, there's more possibility of it happening, and your subconscious mind wants to make you right. And so you had a role probably in making this true. And the interesting thing about love, we say she never really loved me. Well, what's your definition of really loving you? What would that be? Holding hands in the park, picking you up from work? What's your definition of that? Because her definition is probably different because you're different people with different fingerprints, with different backgrounds, with different life experiences. And this is where people get it wrong. How are you going to measure someone's love when their definition of love and the way they convey it's probably different? That's why when you get with someone and you're in a long-term relationship, hopefully the way you convey love and feel love and show love lines up. And I loved her so much and she can never match that. All right, well, right there, that's a limited belief. If you stamp that on the relationship while you were in it, you're saying that she was never going to show enough love for you. Okay, that's on you. I feel like my feelings and care for her were never matched, and she just disregarded the level of unconditional love I had for her. Okay, so this would be a really interesting thing for her to chime in on. But I would just say it's possible that, like I said, let's say that you're the type that wants to hold hands everywhere or share a booth rather than sit across from each other. And you feel like, God, you don't even love me. That's the most extreme thing to say. On the flip side, someone just doesn't like to be touchy. There's people out there when they're in relationships that don't like to hold hands, that don't like to hug in public. That doesn't mean they don't love you. It just means when they convey love or when they were a kid with their parents or watched their parents exchange love, there wasn't a lot of lovey-dovey stuff. There wasn't a lot of hugs. And so you somehow think because your mom hugged you a lot or your past relationship was that they're somehow flawed or there's something that they don't love you enough. No. Their love is just a different language. And if you don't like it, then don't make it such a dramatic thing that it's personally based on you. And by the way, there's a lot of times where someone has higher feelings than the other person. Think about this. Do you really think most relationships, someone's at the same exact point of love? So just to recap that, I feel like my feelings and care for her was never matched, and she just disregarded the level of unconditional love I had for her. I was never fully appreciated by her. So this is just a victim cry. I'm sorry. Like we've gone on and on about what she doesn't love you. She doesn't care about you. If that's true, you're going to have to move on. And why were you in a relationship for this long? But I would ask you this if I did a live coaching with you. What's your history with your parents or your guardians or who took care of you? Did you have this same feeling about them? What were your past relationships like? Did you ever have this feeling with past relationships before? Because what happens is you keep stamping it on every relationship you're in. But if you feel like someone doesn't love you, then it's completely up to you to get out of the relationship. Now, I know that I can't get her to understand that, but how can I show that she's really missing a good thing in what we have? I feel like she took us for granted. How is it a good thing that you had when you're saying that she never really loved you? Whether that's true or not, that's what you feel, and that's just going to create a negative charge throughout the relationship. Come on, man. This is why it's really good to write out your story and your feelings. I feel like she took us for granted. I want her back, but I also want her to know that I'm not someone that she can just disregard. So you've mentioned disregard twice. So I bet in your life with someone you loved in the past that you were disregarded, and now you're replaying this in a new movie screen. That's what I would guess, but I'd have to talk to you in a live coaching session. I have feelings too. You've mentioned more than once. I feel this, I feel that. So it sounds like you're a sensitive individual. How do I let her know that she hurt me without appearing weak or feminine? Well, be specific about what it was. Don't keep saying you hurt me. Specifically, how did she hurt you? Would be number one. She told me I act like a woman sometimes, and now after watching a lot of YouTube, I realized that being feminine is extremely unattractive to women. Okay, this is the thing with YouTube and the feminine, masculine. There's guys that could be the feminine and women that could be the masculine in a relationship. And if it works, it works. That's fine. There has to be one feminine, one masculine. If you look at gay couples, there's usually one feminine, one masculine, right? So if you don't like being the feminine, or she doesn't like you being the feminine, there's women out there that love a feminine man. Okay? This isn't a good match for you. How do I change that? Because I now know it's a problem. Well, you can't change overnight. You're not going to become a Hell's Angel, right? And become extremely masculine. You're not going to join the Marines or the Green Berets and all of a sudden get your masculinity up, right? Even if you did that, like let's say you join the Marines, it would take you about 2 or 3 years, and then you'd be a changed man, right? But whatever happened in your life that's created this feminine track in you, this sensitivity, it's who you are. It's better to own that and refine that a little bit. Lean into it and refine it a little bit rather than go to the extreme. Like, how do I become more masculine? Because you're going to go over there and you're going to try to be all tough, masculine, and gruff. There was something about you from the get-go that she was attracted to that had a little feminine to it. So that's okay. Own it. Own it. I'd highly recommend that you do a live coaching session with myself and unpack this whole thing and get into your history a little bit, because you need to know how you got to that place in the first place. You can't just, oh, what do I do to get more masculine? Oh, maybe go to the gym and lift some weights, man. Get some hammer pants and some protein shakes. Yeah, that'll work. I mean, you can't do any of that stuff in a day. You got to assess, like, do I like who I am? Do I like who I am as an individual? Do I like how I roll? Have other people told me before I'm feminine, or am I just taking her last words as the gospel of who I am? That's why you got to get a second opinion from someone you respect, who's non-biased and direct, like myself or another coach or therapist out there. I can help you with that. It really helps. All right, we got Miguel Coronado. Dude, I'm excited to talk to you on Monday. Absolutely. I look forward to it, but it'll help you out a lot. Especially like you're I believe you're 21, you're in a tough breakup. This is the time to learn some things. When you're in a tough breakup, your first tough breakup of your life, maybe your first love, something like that, but this is the first time you've had a really bad breakup. There's people that have their first bad breakup when they're in their 30s. I've had people tell me, they're like 34, 35. They're like, yeah, I've had a few relationships, but I never had a breakup like this. Right? They never had their heart broken. They never felt like they can't figure this out. So for you to have this happen now is a really good thing. And the really good part of it is ground zero is a good place to be because you're going to learn some things. Some things are going to get into your mind that you just ignored before. You're going to become better with future relationships. You're going to become better with women because right now you want to learn about it because you had a huge consequence. And I can help you with that. And it starts with, who do I want to be in a future relationship and what kind of partner do I want? Starts there. And by the way, when you have rough days out of a breakup, it's okay. That means that you're not hiding from it. That means that you're going through it and you're not trying to evade it. You're dealing with the pain. That's actually a plus rather than being on drugs or alcohol or going out and banging anything that moves kind of a thing, right? Because those kinds of things are just short fixes. Crying's actually good for you. Crying cleans out and filters your body. As a man, it's probably better to cry in private because you might feel a little shameful, which you shouldn't. But crying's actually very good for you. It's a release of feelings. So don't feel bad about that. You got a lot of out of your system. I want to contact her and tell her to keep trying to fight for the relationship, but I know it won't work. I haven't read your story completely, Miguel, but I will go through it on our session on Monday, I promise. We'll go through it with a fine-tooth comb, my friend. But the thing is, you're doing the right thing based on what you told me. Just back off, man. And I know not being in contact right now is really eating at you. Things that you can do that I've told people: take a cold shower, right? Go for a run or a jog and nature or a walk. Exercise really does help. An ice cold shower can get you out of that trance state where you're stuck for a moment. Okay, she's suffering so bad right now too. Just leave her alone for a little bit. If she's let her sort through her feelings on her own. You've said sorry already. You're actually in a pretty good position. All right? She's not going to give in quickly for what you did. You told me you lied and you cheated. She's not going to get back with you in 1 day or 2 days. She's got to figure that out for herself. It doesn't work that way. She doesn't want to let you off easy. So just let her have some time and some space because that's what she wants. You know, the funny thing is, someone says, oh, I need to sort this out. I just can't. I can't do this. You resisting that and keep wanting to see them creates resistance. It creates problems. When they say, I just need some time or I need to think about this, that's what they need. Leave them alone a little bit. Okay? I believe you told me you read the book, the Corey Wayne book 17 times, right? If she's like a cat, she's going to make the decision to come back on her own, right? That's one of the big themes in the book. Women are cats and men are dogs. And cats will come to you when they want to. But deeper than that, like I told you, you writing out your story, getting a coaching session with myself and really going through it, it'll help you immensely more than getting surface information off of YouTube or the internet, because your story counts. Who you are, what's happened to you in your life counts. It goes way deeper. Plus, I'll do some EFT with you. And maybe if we have enough time, we'll do a hypnosis. We'll do a guided meditation that will really calm you down. All right. That's something I'm incorporating more and more in my coaching. And it's not something I don't think a lot of other people do. And it's extremely helpful, useful. All right. We had 6 on deck, 6 likes. I appreciate it. It's been a good show. A quick one today. I will be back on deck. Not tomorrow, Monday through Friday next week. A whole new set of shows. It's been nice. It's been 2.5 weeks now. So it's been pretty good, right? Please put in the comments below if you have a topic that you want me to touch on in the coming weeks about breakups, relationships, or even limited beliefs. And maybe I'll touch on it. If you want to send your story in, send it into writemac.com, WRITMAC.com. If you want to book a live coaching session, talk about your breakup situation or possibly even some limited beliefs, punch the link down below. and subscribe and hit the bell if you like this show, because it'll be on at 10 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday next week. It's Curtains.